Marks, get set, time to JoJo. That's right, this is Bizarre Podcast Dogs Must Die. My name is Grant, you can call him Chip, and we are watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, 3 episodes at a time.
Today we're doing episodes 22 through 24, mainly about where we left off from previous episode, which is JoJo and Wamuu going on an extreme chariot duel.
But before we get into it, I did want to double check something important back in the first episode of Part 2, New York's JoJo. So, who knows what and when about Lisa's past and identity?
Right.
Smokey knows because he was narrating in that scene in the taxi cab of the family history, presenting it as things he would come to learn. No one actually said anything in the taxi cab. I would assume that these details of these family secrets came up on one of his dinner dates with Irina and Speedwagon that they've been having over the past month of story.
Smokey knows about Irina's own child, and the baby would eventually get married, and those were JoJo's parents. But seemingly JoJo does not know about that part. JoJo only knows that, like, hey, your dad died for X reason, and your mom is also gone. Like, both of his parents are dead.
So JoJo's not stupid, not recognizing Lisa's his mom. He just doesn't know the bit of information that would tell him that. He's stupid for other reasons.
Yeah, JoJo's like dumb, but not in that way. I think he just does not have that information that Smokey has.
That does bring us to episode 22, A True Warrior.
See what's going on here already. But yeah, we're immediately starting off with the chariot duel here. Doing these one-on-one battles, JoJo and Wamuu and Lisa and Cars to find out who eventually claims the stone here. So we're about to start the race, and once the clouds part and we can see the full moon again, that's like the start signal, I think.
Yeah, the stands are full of these 100 vampire thralls. It's very one-sided. JoJo's pretty upset that nobody's cheering for him.
Yeah, we're getting like the exact measurements of this racetrack here. It's 960 meters. The vampire horses can complete one lap of it in a minute.
960 meters per minute is equivalent to 34.5 miles per hour.
Okay.
Horses, quarter horses at least, have been clocked as high as 55 miles an hour, although that's over very short distances.
Right, yeah.
These horses are going to run slower than thoroughbred racehorses.
Yeah. Maybe the vampirism actually makes them slower. I don't know. It's shocking that they went with like kind of normal numbers here when everything else has been like, my grip strength, it's pressure.
Grip strength is the only thing that's impossibly huge. Everything else is reasonable.
Yeah. Like I was expecting the horses to go, like 160 miles an hour or something.
Straight-so can jump like 10 feet straight up. That's impressive, but it's not so off the scale as grip strength.
Like the same pressure as like the very bottom, like of the deepest ocean or whatever. God. So with this race, they're not just racing and fighting at the same time. We got Mario Kart style power-ups here.
Yes. Wamuu has invented item boxes.
So there's this pillar that on the track where there's some vampires hanging out. And they're holding on to weapons, and they'll be holding out these weapons on the pillar. And when you race by them, whoever can get there first will have the chance to grab whatever new weapon the vampire is holding. Right now, he's got a fucking gigantic, super long-handled sledgehammer.
Speedwagon is so jealous of that hammer.
Man. He's not even here right now. He just knows someone is getting a sledgehammer that he could have. So yeah, JoJo's immediately thinking to himself, "Oh fuck, I got to get that sledgehammer." His immediate plan is to cover it in oil so that he can like supercharge it with hormone and just nail Wamuu in the face with it.
And he knows that if Wamuu gets it first, he's done. There is no way he's winning this fight.
Yeah. The race is about to start. The clouds are about to part and reveal the moon. And Lisa's like, "JoJo, what the fuck are you doing?" Because JoJo's not in his chariot. Rather, he is crouched on the ground near the wheels, clearing out dirt and debris.
You know how in driver's ed they tell you to always like do a lap around your car before you get it? He's the only person that actually does that.
Yeah. So yeah, he's kicking all this debris away and throwing it around and stuff. He's telling Wamuu like, "Hey, dude, you should check out your own wheels. Looks like there's some debris there or something. Gonna take care of that?" And Wamuu doesn't buy any of the shit JoJo's doing.
Just a general harumph directed at him.
Yeah, that's about it, really. So JoJo hops back in the cart, and then when it's time to go, they both go off, and JoJo rockets ahead, and Wamuu doesn't go anywhere because, surprise, all the debris he was throwing around is around Wamuu's wheels now, and so he can't
was
go.
Warned. This is entirely fair.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Wamuu's so upset.
Bro, he fucking told you, clear cut, like...
Wamuu is still complaining about the rules, and JoJo calls back like, you told me there were no rules. Nothing says a dog can't chariot race. Bye.
Yeah, and this is the first shot where we get, so there's some more dynamic shots of the racetrack, of people going around it, with the camera sweeping around. And instead of doing that 2D style, we got 3D models for these shots.
Hell yeah.
And they're usually quick shots, and everything's moving by super fast. But if you squint, the models for JoJo and Wamuu for these sections look like Dreamcast era models. They're like cell shaded, but they're pretty kind of low poly and blocky. They're pretty great.
So JoJo makes it to the pillar first easily to seize this hammer. Although it's so weighty, it's so large, he can barely hold on to it. It nearly slips out of his grip, and then there's a teeny little hook on the end. And it hooks the ring from Wamuu that he got from Caesar. And I guess this is the assist that I was talking about at the end of our last episode.
Yeah. It's like a little thing. But yeah, if he did not have the ring, he literally would not be able to get the hammer. So. And then immediately Wamuu thinks, aha, JoJo got the hammer. That was my plan from the beginning. And we don't have any... Speedwagon or Smokey to narrate, so Cars is doing most of it.
Yeah, it really gets spread around a little bit of everybody, but Cars does like the plurality of it. Yeah.
Lisa takes over the role of Speedwagon when he's really worried. That's her role in the battle narration here.
I like that Cars and Lisa kind of get along while they're just watching the race together. They work. They work.
Like, if the Pillar Men weren't like killing lots of people so that they could get their hands on the stone, they seem like they could maybe be all right dudes. I don't know. There's times where they get along easily with the heroes for some reason.
Yeah, like they would all go on a road trip, and Cars is trying to keep the schedule, and Lisa is giving everybody juice boxes and sunscreen.
Yep. JoJo's got the hammer. Wamuu is closing in on him, and Lisa's like shouting at JoJo, "Yo, fucking watch out! Wamuu's up to something." And then Wamuu coming up to the pillar that carries the weapons each lap. He clotheslines the pillar clean off the ground, and that is his weapon.
He is a pillar man after all. He's going back to his roots.
And also funny that like when Wamuu grabs his pillar and is getting ready to swing it around, like the vampire that was hanging out on it with the weapons is still there.
Yes.
Yeah, Wamuu swings, and JoJo's able to jump out of the way, but he has to jump off of his horse, and the like actual chariot part just gets annihilated by the pillar.
And so JoJo is already off of the chariot. If there's a ring out provision to this deadly chariot race, he is lost. But no, it is a fight to the death that just happens to be on a chariot.
Yeah, and as Wamuu is quickly approaching to trample JoJo, he says one of my favorite lines from part 2, and the thing that like sold me on it.
I figured this would be the line. The probability of him being trampled by my vampire horses is 90%.
God.
5% chance he goes left, 5% chance he dodges right. We all know JoJo's ambidextrous. He could go either way.
Like, Wamuu says it with such confidence that it's like there is some type of mathematical formula for figuring out the likelihood of somebody being trampled by vampire horses. Wamuu's wondering, like, oh, which way is JoJo gonna go? Either way, he's fucked, because if he goes left or right, I can just turn and get him. And JoJo does none of those. He grabs the hammer back off the ground and swings it so that it hits like the yoke or whatever it's called between the horses, and uses that along with the sledgehammer to swing up off that bar and onto Wamuu's horses.
The narrator describes, the leverage involved in this maneuver, and the whole vampire crowd gasps at the narrator, not at the actual action.
Yeah, I forgot that they did that. But,
is he on the PA system, maybe?
I'm just waiting for each part for like the narrator to become slightly more and more heard by the characters or something until he's just a real dude. But yeah, JoJo gets on those horses, says a little bit about, boy, I can't wait to hit you with this big hammer. And then once he's done talking, realizes Wamuu is gone. He's not in the chariot. He's just nowhere to be seen.
Some of the vampires in the crowd are wondering where he went. How many of them are speedwagons? One must wonder.
Yeah. It turns out Wamuu is doing a trick we've seen before in part 1 of JoJo.
It is the return of Horsey Surprise.
Yeah.
As Wamuu's hands emerge from the back of this horse, because we all know pillar men like to hide inside things, usually Nazis, but sometimes vampire horses.
And a single hand of Wamuu's comes out of the horse to grab at JoJo. And JoJo, he does get grabbed by the ankle, but he's still able to get away because he has long boots on, and the boot just slips right off. And then... And Cars
laments, if only he had on some other kind of footwear.
Yeah.
Why wasn't JoJo into strappy sandals or something?
And like I think the vampire audience too is having a similar reaction, just like, oh man, he's got boots. But even so, Wamuu is able to just like from the waist up just emerge from the horse. And because he doesn't have to hold onto reins or stabilize himself or anything, because he's just a part of the horse, he's like super stable, and he's able to throw out both hands and nail JoJo with the Divine Sandstorm, like point blank.
Yeah. JoJo perhaps foolishly rushes forward, saying, "Your own power has you trapped inside of that horse."
Yeah.
He thinks he has the advantage in this situation, whereas I think Lisa says, quote, "Now that Wamuu has merged with that horse, he's free to use his hands without worry."
Yeah.
There are a lot of great lines in a row in this.
Yeah, this vampire horse chariot duel is one of my favorite fights just because there's a lot of really great, funny lines. For this.
So, yeah, JoJo is leaping forward for a strike, but that just means he gets a Divine Sandstorm direct square on, with no room to move around. He's right there, point blank. And a lot of blood comes out of that boy.
Yeah, he gets like thrown back higher into the air, and there's a second where he's like almost just frozen in the air, and then there's a quick just like impact on him, and it's just so much blood just squishes out of that guy. It's oh man. And that the force of that impact also sends him flying back towards his own horses, and he lands on the chariot there, like all fucked up.
Yeah, the wrecked remains of his original chariot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like still good enough to roll, but it's all bent up and stuff.
Meanwhile, Wamuu is there. His torso emerged from the horse as just the world's worst centaur. That is not how that's supposed to work.
Oh. I like this part here where Lisa and Cars, just saw this happen, and Cars sits down, crisscross applesauce, and gets a vampire to bring him a glass of wine, starts having his victory wine immediately, and then tells Lisa, like, hey, I don't want to fight a woman if I don't have to. Throws her a vial of some sort of lethal poison and says, like, you can just drink that if you want. That's cool with me. And then Lisa looks at him and smiles and, of course, aha, you didn't see what JoJo's plan was.
I mean, neither did we, the viewer, but that's just how it goes sometimes.
And then the wine-serving vampire soldier, still with like the bottle of wine and a little towel draped over his arm, like he's a little waiter or butler, runs into frame and goes like, "Sir Cars, look!" And then Cars very dramatically in slow-mo drops the still full glass of wine onto the ground and it shatters.
Yeah, JoJo is living, breathing. He's just fine, which is impossible for a direct hit of Divine Sandstorm. This is the attack that killed Caesar Zeppeli. While meanwhile, Wamuu is just hanging limp, his arms glowing as deep gashes of some sort of Hamon strike have left them useless at his sides as he gallops as most of a horse.
Yeah, like both his arms are like still there, but like at the elbow on each arm, they're like just kind of hanging by little threads almost. They're just like flopping everywhere. But yeah, JoJo, everyone's pointing at JoJo now, and he's basically fine. He's like scratched up a bit. But it turns out, as he was leaping towards Wamuu, he knew the Divine Sandstorm was coming out with his now bare foot, because the boot got pulled off of it. He used his toes to grab the reins from the horses and flick them and wrap them around Wamuu's arms so he could charge Hamon through them right before the Divine Sandstorm comes out, which made it way weaker.
Yeah, it fucked up Wamuu, and it made his Divine Sandstorm barely a gentle breeze.
Yeah.
I don't know where all the blood came from.
I wanted to, like, they don't show it, but because of the way Joseph's plans work, and all the like magic tricks that he likes to use sometimes, I was hoping that there was a reveal that he brought lots of ketchup packets with him that he could squeeze or flex at some point to make it look like he was bleeding.
He had his own bottle from Cars' wine cellar.
Yeah.
I love this plan. This is ridiculous and fun and part of what I really enjoy about this show, but I have a note. This should have been Caesar's ridiculous headband and not the reins. That's what I thought it was for a second, because the way that the headband is animated when it's on JoJo, that thing is 4 times as long as it ever was before.
Oh yeah,
so
it gets
big.
super long if the bandana ever needs to be super long, it just is. But yeah, unfortunately, they don't use Caesar's bandana for this, which would have been really fucking cool.
Meanwhile, Cars is having a moment to share his deep respect for his friend, who's clearly on the ropes, having a rough time. And man, I feel for you, bro. But rules are rules. Put out the giant crossbow so JoJo can fuck him up more.
Yeah. By the way, I love Cars' signal for deploying the new weapons to these vampires on the other side of this arena. He crosses both of his arms in like an X and then vogues, and his arms shine a giant rainbow X that's so bright the vampires on the other side can see it.
So these two vampires are basically, what if Dark Souls was a comedy game?
Yeah.
We got big guy, little guy. Everybody's armor is very Dark Souls to me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Especially with their ridiculously large crossbows that shoot cannonballs.
Yeah, these guys really do look like the comedy duo version of Ornstein and Smaug from Dark Souls. Like one of them even is fat and round and has the gold armor that. But yeah, they've come out. There's no pillars, so they're just stacked on top of each other, standing in the middle of the race course here. And yeah, there's 2 crossbows, a big one and then a normal size one. And JoJo immediately thinks, dude, I want the big one.
Hell yes, bigger's better, baby.
And Cars is telling Lisa, like, oh, I bet you're wondering why I'm so confident in Wamuu right now, and I'm not actually worried at all, and we're not owned. Not one bit.
It's because the greatest combatants all have the power to just, like, get over it, man. Come on.
Yeah, the narrator says that Wamuu is performing something that the best athletes in the world can do, which is called the switch comeback. When they're brought to brought low by shock or fear or whatever, they just flip a mental switch to bring out their fighting spirit. I have never heard of this. I think they made it up.
It's like when Michael Jordan wasn't feeling it, so he made up something that the someone on the other team said about him so he could get mad about it and then play better.
Yeah.
What a dick.
Yeah, God. I forgot about that. Wamuu's version of that is to pluck his fucking eyeballs out.
And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. Matthew 5:29, King James Version. They've been locked up for 2,000 years. We assume they're just rounding. Wamuu could have been at the Sermon on the Mount. He could have heard that straight from the source.
It's true. And it wouldn't, I mean, AC/DC was already like, yeah, I was there when Sun Tzu was writing The Art of War. Like, it would not be out of the, shocking to be like, yeah, I was there too. I was just there in the background, just slightly out of frame.
3,000 years after my friend Sun Tzu died, I had a new friend, Jesus Christ.
He was cool. He was a hormone warrior, so I had to kill him.
But yeah, basically, Wamuu's reasoning, if you can call it that,
sure,
is that he was so focused on watching what JoJo was doing. He was fooled by his misdirection because JoJo's all about like tricking the eye. If he doesn't have eyes, he can't get tricked.
Yeah, and so when he is explaining this, he reveals his horn that we haven't seen since the first episode he was introduced. Like that, his little forehead. It's got like a little metal covering that he can just willingly open. It's like a camera aperture. Yeah, he sticks his horn comes out, and with his horn, which also has the power of wind, he can just use that to see. He can just sense the air around things.
Yeah, he becomes Daredevil. He's blind, but his superpower is that he sees real good.
Yeah. I like Cars just saying, he flipped the switch by removing his eyes from the equation. Now he is once again psychologically invincible.
AC/DC's tantrum technique is probably better suited.
Yeah.
I like how he flipped the switch a little better.
I know the Pillar Man can regenerate, but can they grow back eyeballs that have been plucked out for them? I don't know. Like, it seems like there might be a limit to that stuff. JoJo's still in front. He's still going for the weapons.
But he just can't pull the string on this gigantic crossbow the size of a man.
Yeah, it is fucking huge. It is almost as big as Joseph, and he's already, like, huge. But yeah, the tension on the drawstring or whatever for this crossbow is so fucking strong. He just cannot pull it back, like, at all. He's just like fucking up his hands and stuff by trying to pull on it so hard. Should mention that these are also not crossbows that fire bolts. They fire like iron ball bearings the size of your head.
Just big ass cannonball crossbows. Yes.
Yeah.
But Wamuu, with the smaller crossbow, can pull it back easily. He probably could have pulled back the big one, too. He's a Pillar Man. It's sort of their thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time we got his stats, but I think he could manage.
He can just sense the air around things right now. So he fires a first volley, not intending to kill JoJo with it, but using it to, like, calibrate his senses. So the first one he fires goes right past JoJo's shoulder and nails one of the horses in the head, and its head just gets fucking annihilated.
So he's down to one horse and half a cart in this chariot race to the death.
He's just riding the horse now. He's not even in the cart.
And then Wamuu fires his second shot as a bit of a trick shot. You see, he, as the person who knows the most about modern society, realizes that roulette tables have been invented since he was in the Pillar. So
in this arena, in the middle of the track, there's just a deep pit that has a fucking gigantic fire lit inside of it. Just huge, going like 30, 40 feet into the sky or something. JoJo like raced ahead so that he is always on the opposite side of wherever Wamuu is. There's always this big flame between them, which fucks with his senses. He can't see through the fire.
But he doesn't have to see through. He doesn't have to shoot through the fire. He can shoot around the edge.
Yeah, it's like he's thinking like, aha, you think that's going to hide you from me, but because now I know you're always going to try to be on the opposite side from me, it's easy to guess where you are. And so he fires this shot at the wall that's curving along it, like a roulette table. after going around, it's like a bank shot that bounces off the wall, and it fucking nails JoJo clean in his ribs.
He flies off of his chariot cart. Of course, he can't stay on his feet. Every lap, the dude is getting knocked to the floor.
Yeah.
And this is where the race stops, essentially. So let's take a look at how far they actually went. They seem to go a quarter of the way around to get the first weapon, and then another full lap to get the second weapon, and then another half lap or so.
Yeah.
So we're doing less than 2 laps. This is actually shorter than the Kentucky Derby on horses that are running slower.
Not even like 3 minutes, maybe. And we're about 17 minutes into the episode. But yeah, JoJo's like having a hard time getting up or breathing well because of the shot to his ribs with a fucking cannonball. So he's just lying on the ground, just waiting. And when he fell off the horse, his hand was still on the string of his fucking gigantic crossbow, and the impact of him hitting the ground was strong enough that it was able to let him fully pull the string and get this crossbow readied.
And for once, like, we are in on the plan. We there's a close-up insert shot of the string being pulled. We even hear JoJo's internal monologue talking about how the string got pulled, but I can't let Wamuu realize that.
Yeah. As Wamuu is getting very close to trampling him with the vampire horses, JoJo gets up, aims the crossbow right at Wamuu, and as he's about to pull the trigger, he just hurts really bad. He coughs up a bunch of blood. He falls over. He accidentally pulls the trigger and fires the crossbow in the wrong direction, and it looks like he's completely whiffed his shot.
Remember when Hamon could like heal you and stuff? It'd be nice.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if that happened again. Somebody should have taught Caesar that one.
Yeah. And all the crowd of vampires are just laughing at JoJo and calling him a loser and shit as JoJo is just picking up small pebbles and stuff off the ground and just throwing them at Wamuu's face like, no, please don't hurt me. I would hate if he killed me. And, of course, this was also a distraction. He stops Wamuu to do his little, I bet you're going to say blank thing again.
It's been a long time since we saw that.
It's been a little bit, but he's like, next you're going to say, don't you dare dishonor our battle here, JoJo. And then, immediately Wamuu says the same thing. It is caught off guard. But every time somebody gets caught off guard by that little thing JoJo does there, there's always a extra close-up reaction shot with like really crazy colors and them going, oh, like, you got me. I did say that.
You're just so predictable, Wamuu. You and your honorable laws of battle.
Yeah, he keeps throwing these pebbles at Wamuu. He's asking Wamuu, a simple bat could fly in between those rocks and not get hit. Why can't you avoid them?
Yeah.
And as he says that, there's suddenly a cannonball flying from behind Wamuu, and it just pierces him straight through his chest. And
yes, because he was using the same banking trick that Wamuu used against him, but also the cannonball had been charged with Hamon, so it just penetrates. It's basically like Death Becomes Her, the plug just straight through Wamuu.
Yeah.
Poor Goldie Hawn. What happened?
But yeah, now he just has one of those glowing orange, just like steaming wounds clean through his chest. It's a huge hole. And Wamuu's having a hard time like keeping the wounds on his arms like healing. Like he was slowly regenerating them, but now his arms are just fucked up. Falls off his horses, and as he's falling, he tries to go like he's acting like he's just gonna fall on his back, but he's secretly trying to go in for like a double kick on JoJo,
or like a double leg drop. He's basically doing a butt slam on JoJo, but then Joseph responds with something that I didn't think we would ever see again.
Yeah,
he calls out an overdrive special move, rebuff overdrive.
Yeah, which just seems to be hitting dudes with Hamon elbows.
That's
rebuff overdrive. But yeah, JoJo suddenly pulls out an overdrive attack name and nails Wamuu, both elbows to Wamuu's legs here. Now Wamuu's just trembling on the ground, unable to fight for a bit. And he stands up, his arms from the elbow down just fall off.
Yes.
His wounds are getting so bad. but he says, hey, I'm not, out for the count yet. Because, like, when his arms fell off in the next shot, you don't see where those arms went. They're not on the ground or anything. JoJo's getting pretty close to Wamuu to finish him off. And Wamuu says, like, I'm not finished yet. And he hid both of his arms inside his body.
Yes.
And he launches them like missiles at JoJo. And JoJo gets thrown back, so he's up against the little wall that surrounds the flame in the middle of this racetrack.
With the hands choking him out and of course cutting off the supply of air, which means cutting off his hormone. My only question is how? Like someone announces, look, Wamuu has launched his arms out of his chest wound. Yeah, yes, I understand that. But how does one launch arms from a chest wound?
Flexing really hard.
I guess.
I don't know.
Total body control, man. Total body control. It's because pillar men are just so gooey.
They're just so gooey and gross.
Wamuu and JoJo are both against the ropes. Either one of them seem like they could die at any moment, and Wamuu is going to make sure it's not him. So he decides to unleash his most powerful ultimate attack. Cars is shocked at this. He does not want Wamuu to unleash this technique. And you ever hate losing so much that your whole body explodes?
Yeah. So Wamuu has like those gross bony like air jets that were sticking out of like his rib cage when a few episodes ago when he was fighting Caesar. He was like pushing the air out so he could create like that vapor shield so he could be out in the sunlight. Those pop out again, but now they're like beginning to suck in a ton of air from around him. Wamuu shouts ultimate mastery, atmospheric rift, and yeah, he just fucking explodes. There's just, the episode ends with a freeze frame of big chunks of flesh just erupting from his back and just blood going everywhere. And that's the end of episode 22.
So, of course, we have to go straight into episode 23, The Warrior of Wind.
This atmospheric rift attack, Wamuu is sucking in tons of air through these pipes so that he can then fire a highly pressurized, razor-sharp jet of wind from his horn on his head.
Cars is explaining the mechanics of this, so that's how you know we're in a sharp Speedwagon deficiency.
Yeah.
JoJo is being held motionless by these detached arms around his throat.
Yeah.
And the cutting blade of super pressurized air is inching toward you as Wamuu says, I'm going to find you eventually. And dude, this might go faster if you still had eyes.
Yeah. And as this jet of wind is getting really close to hitting JoJo, he pulls out, because, previous episode he was coating stuff in oil to charge it up. So he thinks, okay, here's my last trick. What does he call it?
I call it Molotov Overdrive. I don't really remember what he calls it.
He calls it the famous hormone oil trick. Sure, okay. Yeah, he pulls out this little glass flask of oil he's got on him here, is trying to throw it at the Wamuu's air pipes that he is, because he's also, there's a little wick on it, so he lights it with the fire that's near him. So yeah, just Molotov cocktail, hopes it gets sucked into the air pipes, and that kills Wamuu. But he throws the flask, and Wamuu easily notices it and cuts the flask in half midair.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
JoJo's just fucked. It's telling JoJo, like, you're out of tricks, and also you shouting the hormone oil trick thing gave away your position. So here I go, time to kill you. JoJo shouts out Caesar's name and grabs Caesar's bandana, pulls it off his head, and it lights it on fire with a fire near him, and throws that at Wamuu as a last-ditch thing. And
it just burns in the air, just cinders before ever getting to Wamuu. And it's also heartbreaking. JoJo is clearly dead. Yeah,
like Wamuu actually cuts up the bandana, I think, too, as it's burning up. Wamuu's just telling JoJo, like, okay, now you're super out of tricks, dude. You're gonna die. And then JoJo stops him and says, like, you're already dead, dude.
He says, let me tell you exactly when you lost, which is the cockiest shit, and I love it so much.
Yeah.
This is the best Joseph moment, I think. Let me tell you exactly when you lost.
Yeah. And so what happened here is JoJo was planning for the flask to be cut and all this. So what happens is the flask got cut open, but now the alcohol has been vaporizing, like, just into the air around him.
Yeah. The volatile oils are just like up and in the atmosphere, being sucked into Wamuu's intake tubes, and the burning embers from the shredded headband are also going in the intake tubes. So with this fire and a little bit of Hamon, Wamuu is now being burned from the inside out. JoJo is playing Fate. Fate Accelerated is the game to do whatever Joseph has been doing this entire time. His player is just spending a pile of Fate tokens to tag these setting aspects.
Yeah. And as all this stuff is getting sucked up into Wamuu's air pipes and getting mixed up inside his body, he just fucking explodes. This dude blows the hell up, and all that's left of him is just his head on the ground.
As is tradition.
And as JoJo was explaining to Wamuu exactly when he had already lost, we're also hearing the exact same sad opera music that played when Caesar died. Yeah, even after Wamuu explodes, Lisa's still shouting to JoJo yo, Pillar Man can regenerate. You gotta super kill this guy. Go karate chop his head or something.
I don't want anybody else messing with my maid. Come on, she's been through enough.
Yeah.
We've been through this, JoJo.
Yeah.
So Joseph walks forward in order to give the final blow, but instead he cuts himself open and then pours one out, and by one I mean his own blood.
Yeah.
Onto the head of Wamuu in order to, I don't know, just send him out right, keep him conscious and feeling nice as he irrevocably dissolves from the inside out.
Yeah. His head is, Wamuu's just lone head to the ground throughout this whole part is also, smoking. It is very slowly melting. And yeah, JoJo pours one out here. He's asking Wamuu, why did you let the ring Caesar grab from you? Why'd you let me get that?
Even though they posed a serious threat to you, and there's no way on earth Wamuu thought that ring and bandana were a serious threat to him. No, thank you.
Wamuu tells JoJo that Caesar is a great warrior, and he needed to be honored and remembered in some way, which is why I left that ring behind. And then he is shocked because he just realized what JoJo is doing is the same thing to him.
JoJo, please stop respecting people. He just killed Caesar. We're literally talking about it right now. We don't have to do this.
Quit that. But yeah, he tells Wamuu that because you showed Caesar honor in his death, I will do the same to you and all this shit. Wanted to find a way to honor your warrior spirit and all this.
He's trying to eat every human on Earth.
Quit this.
After maybe turning them into vampires to make them tastier to eat.
But all the vampires in the audience are really upset with this turn of events, so they just leap out of the rafters to just go kill the shit out of JoJo themselves. And Wamuu does not like this, and using his hair like he's Blowhard, grabs the giant crossbow that's still on the ground near him, loads himself onto the crossbow, and shoots himself at these vampires.
Horn first,
and tears all these vampires in half.
I think he kills 2, so now it's 98 against 2, if we're following along.
So he kills those immediate vampires, and then his horn snaps off, and he falls to the ground once more. And then they immediately continue their conversation where they left off.
Wamuu is talking about his deep connection, I knew I loved you before I met you. I think I dreamed you into life.
Yeah. Saying stuff to me that only the strong have ever existed, that you have to be strong to be remembered and leave your mark on history, whatever. I play by my own rules of honor. Talking about how the whole thing about getting the Redstone of Asia to become immortal was just not really something he cared about. All he cared was living to his own code he had developed here of the honorable warrior. And he's also telling JoJo yo, you can just drink that ring now. I don't care anymore. I actually want to see you drink the ring. And so JoJo takes the ring, and as he does that, Wamuu tells JoJo, like, I'm glad to have seen you evolve as a warrior and to be owned by you. Goodbye. And then his head just dissolves into dust.
Never once does his instinctual back kick ever come up.
It was a really small thing, though. It came up in the very beginning of the fight with Caesar, I think. I forget exactly when it happened. I think it was like when they were still outside. I think somebody stepped.
Okay. Sure.
Somebody stepped into shadow very briefly, but it was not like a big payoff thing. It was just like, oh yeah, he does that.
Oh, what a waste. What a waste.
I know. There's always a lot of setup in JoJo, but not all of it always pays off, especially in these early parts. We get to see Cars kind of grabbing at some of the dust of Wamuu's former head blowing in the breeze.
Mm-hmm.
And he thinks back to an earlier time, thousands of years ago.
Yes.
Where Cars is telling Wamuu to kill a young boy he is studying Hamon. And Cars is telling Wamuu, like, you know, even though he's just a boy, this is why he must die. We have to eradicate all Hamon users, and humans can grow quickly.
And Wamuu being Wamuu is like, nah, I want him to grow. I don't want to mess with this. This is kind of fucked up. I know we are super evil, but this is kind of fucked up. Yeah,
let me beat him up when he's stronger. After Cars is done remembering that scene, he says out loud that Wamuu was too pure in his warrior philosophy, and that's what made him weak.
Man, I miss my friend that didn't kill kids.
And then some fucking random vampire soldiers say, well, that's the end of Wamuu. What a waste.
Yeah.
And one of them even says he was only a poser.
And so Cars kills them.
Yeah.
It is now 95 against 2. JoJo and Lisa looking better all the time.
These vampires just keep running their mouths and getting killed by their own bosses because of it.
So then Cars has to get in his fighting clothes.
Yeah, so this whole show so far, he has been wearing like a wrap around his head.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a turban.
And so he pulls this off to reveal the hugest head of 80s metal hair.
Blowhard's got nothing on this guy.
Yeah, this is like 5 times the amount of metal hair that Blowhard had. It is luxurious, it is thick.
And he's just generally 10 times prettier. Like, I think he gets makeup all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's already... So here's a thing with JoJo. Some bad guys throughout JoJo are like hot, but when they get powered up, they get hotter because they get more makeup from nowhere. Because like Wamuu has already this whole time has had some like purple eyeshadow, but now he's got like hella purple eyeshadow, and it looks like somebody's done up his eyelashes.
Yeah. Like, but with the way this episode has been going, I would not be surprised to see one of these vampire thralls with like a makeup brush and an eyelash curler just scurrying off to the side.
When he reveals his hair, a vampire shouts out, "Look at Lord Cars, he's magnificent." And we get this shot of Cars crossing his arms and voguing, doing some weird finger hand poses, sticking his tongue out like he's like a cute member of a boy band. And there's just like glitter and sparkles just dancing around him.
Cars is great. We love Cars.
Yeah, and so a bunch of vampires are begging Cars, you know, like, oh, forget the rules that you made, boss. Let's just kill these 2. I think Cars kills even more of his own vampires here. Yeah, I forget.
Between Cars and Lisa, we take out 5 more vampires. Now it's 90 against 2.
Yeah.
But Cars calls them all off. Because they are going to honor the agreement. It's I guess the least he can do for the memory of his fallen companion Wamuu. But reassures Lisa that he is a true feminist and will punch a woman if he respects her.
Yeah. Like, I like just earlier, previous episode, he's like, yo, Lisa, just drink this poison and kill yourself because I don't want to fight a lady. Actually, I will totally fight a lady. Fair and square. Let's go to the new fighting venue just outside of the Vampire Horse racetrack. Some place called Piz Bernina Temple or something like that. This is where...
Named for a real peak in the Alps where they are.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, this temple was where people who had won in the arena nearby would go to drink the blood of their enemies they had killed.
Mixed with wine.
There's this, like... elevated platform, like 20 feet or so up, where they're going to fight. And below this platform is kind of like a long, skinny platform.
More of a catwalk, which sort of fits his whole look right now.
It does. There is just a giant, on the ground below, there's just a huge bed of crystalline spikes.
Which are later implied to have been made by Cars for the occasion, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
So now it is Lisa's turn to get her Technicolor outfit reveal as she drops her long coat, and she is wearing pants for the occasion.
It's hard to describe this. Yeah. She's got like or almost full body, like goes up to the shoulders, like singlet on or something.
Yeah.
And then she's got these weird, like wedgie giving overalls on top of it.
Mm-hmm. That's her fighting clothes.
Those are Lisa's fighting clothes. She's still got her big old Hamon scarf on, though.
Mm-hmm. JoJo is enamored with his banging bodacious bimbo babe of a teacher, and then has to remind himself, "Oh right, you're old as shit. Never mind."
And so when they both get up to this platform, and Cars tells Lisa, like, fair's fair, you can take any of these weapons to fight me with. And there's just a giant pile at Lisa's feet of maces and axes and whips and chains and all this other shit. And she just kind of like lazily like just kicks all those off and says like, "Nah, I'm good. I got a scarf."
Yeah, I have a scarf of bug tummy. I would choose JoJo as my weapon and swing him around by the ankles.
Oh yeah, that'd work out pretty good, I think.
That'd be good. So they square off almost immediately in this fight. Cars disappears.
Yeah, right before he disappears, he takes a fighting stance, and Lisa thinks to herself, "There's no violence in his stance. How can you fight without violence?"
That's a question for the ages. What is the sound of one hand clapping? How can you fight without violence?
Yeah. After Cars like charges at her, this is just brilliant glow light, and he disappears.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So Lisa has to seek him out and sort of like probe the air for his essence, which she's been shown to be pretty good at. Mm-hmm. Although she figures he's coming somehow from both above and below. So Cars has Blewford's hair and Tarukas' tactics.
So Cars is about to sneak attack Lisa here. He's above her, and there's like paper thin cracks in the stone above her, and in both these cracks, both of his arms are just slowly creeping out from them somehow. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, I guess he's supposed to be like flat, like Santana maybe, but he's not drawn that way, so it just looks like some type of optical illusion is happening here. But he leaps out from the crack above her, about to chop her up with his brilliant bone blades.
Mm-hmm. But of course, Lisa activates bug tummy power. Her Hamon-charged scarf becomes a third leg to launch her up into the air in a backflip, and she takes out what she thinks is Cars, but wait, it's not.
Oh my god. Yeah, the Cars she kicks, it like immediately explodes and begins to melt on the ground, vaporizing already. JoJo's like, "Damn, coach, you're really good." And then she immediately gets impaled through the back by Cars with the bone blades.
Because the Cars she hit was a body double. One of these vampires made up to look exactly like Cars, perhaps through Cars' power of light mastery?
Yeah.
He spun his arm chainsaw fast enough to make a hologram?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. But in any case, now it is 89 against 1.
Yeah. Lisa falls to the ground. She is like out for the count. She is bleeding really bad. And Cars immediately says, "Why the fuck did you dudes, why did all of you think I was going to fight fair and square? You fucking dummies. Why would I ever choose to do that? I'm going to fucking cheat in any way I can to win. I
just want the rock. I don't care about your shit. I want the big shiny rock.
I want to be the ultimate being. Fuck you. I don't care how I do this."
Have you not been listening to anything I've said?
Yeah, like he straight up just tells JoJo, like, "I am not honorable like Wamuu. I don't give a fuck." And then while he's saying this, he cuts up Lisa again. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And she thinks to herself,
"He never had any intention of fighting me, only stabbing straight through my many organs twice."
Yeah, she thinks, "So that's why I sensed no violence."
Sucker punches, non-violent. That's what we learned today.
And so now that Lisa is down, Cars has the stone. He just plucks it from her, and he just commands the remaining 90 or so, 89 vampires to just kill JoJo. He doesn't even want to fight him.
And wow, JoJo is really pulling out the part 1 references, though, because he does a zoom punch to the face of one of these. That's a Will Zeppeli original, man.
Yeah, I cannot believe he pulls out a zoom punch. But all of a sudden, like, his punches are becoming very ineffective. He's punching vampires, and they're not even, like, really getting hurt that much. They're just, like, normal punches to them now. Because JoJo is so exhausted from the fight against Wamuu that he can't breathe very well.
You got to get one of them Gatorade chews. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Give JoJo a banana.
Yeah, like, what food is good for getting your hormone back? I don't know. What vitamins are good
I'm
for
just
that?
going by whatever they give you at the end of a 5K.
Oh, sure, yeah. So yeah, JoJo's surrounded by vampires. He's really trying to fend them off, but he can barely generate any hormone now. He's just a normal man punching stuff now. So as JoJo continues to try to fight, some vampires suddenly get melted out of nowhere.
Hell yes.
A bunch of them get melted.
Nazis to the rescue. Yay!
Yay, the Nazis are here. So Stroheim is here. He has been rebuilt again. He's got his legs back and everything. And there's a couple dozen Nazis behind him that have shoulder-mounted ultraviolet spotlights.
Yeah, these are introduced as the Speedwagon Foundation Special Forces.
Yeah.
If the Speedwagon Foundation has special forces, I don't think it should exist.
Yeah. Because at first it's like, oh, okay, Stroheim is commanding Speedwagon Foundation forces, but no, they seem to be Speedwagon Foundation assisted Nazis. I don't know. It's that,
like, even the Ford Foundation never went that far. Okay.
Yeah. So also Speedwagon is here, and he brought Smokey. Smokey's back here.
But yeah, all of these forces have floodlight backpacks. Even Stroheim has built-in UV floodlights. Curse my prophetic eyes.
Yep.
And so they just start killing these vampires by running up to them, shouting at them, and shining fatal floodlights on them. I don't know if the shouting is necessary, but they seem to think it is. They're very into the shouting.
Oh, Stroheim is so into the floodlights. He loves them. While Nazis are attacking vampires in the background, Speedwagon is super chill and just saying, like, oh, it was the Speedwagon Foundation that was able to miniaturize the UV light tech so that they could wear them as backpacks. It wasn't the Nazis that did this, but he loves to take the credit.
Okay, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation might be trying to end public schooling forever. At least they aren't teaming up with Nazis.
Yeah.
Also, the like vaccination is good. You know, I like them fighting malaria. Sure, fine, whatever. But
yeah. But while those Nazis are now fending off all the fodder vampires, Joseph has leapt up onto the platform to fight Cars, despite having like no hormone left to fight him. Really,
they miniaturized floodlights, but they couldn't bring their favorite guy like an oxygen tank real quick.
Yeah.
Earlier, just before Nazis to the rescue, probably my least favorite thing in a dub happened.
Oh, yeah.
Cars' line, "Think you can beat me," just got murdered by having to fit the lip flaps.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
A perfectly fine line, but there's no way to deliver it well and match those lip flaps, and it's nobody's fault except for the fact that people care about lip flaps, and I wish they didn't. Yeah. Dubs would be so much better if you trusted your actors to do the line better and trusted the audience to like not care that much.
Yeah, it only makes sense if there's like a really big pause or something, but like those small ones that come up in anime sometimes, like I don't care. God, just give me the normal sounding line.
I get it. It's a catch-22. You're stuck in it, but like I would love to if there was a rogue dub director out there, it's just like, no, yeah. You deliver the line how you want. We're just going to go with it. Yeah.
JoJo and Cars are getting ready to square off here, but Cars is not going to play fair.
Mm-hmm.
He's pointing out like, oh boy, it sure would be a shame if anything happened to Lisa. And he picks up her unconscious body and plays air guitar on her legs.
When Cars is making jokes, you know we're in trouble. This is very sudden and very bad. Also, who taught him about guitars?
I don't know. Yeah, it's really funny because like all the music cuts out. It's silent. You just see him pull up Lisa's legs. And it's like, what the fuck is he doing here? And then he just starts to do it. Like, it's not even just like doing the air guitar. He's like making guitar noises with his mouth.
Yeah. Remember, this is 1939. Cars has invented air guitar.
That's true. He has.
Cars has predicted what electric guitars will sound like once invented.
God, I didn't even consider that for some reason. That's great. And while he's doing air guitar, he impales both of Lisa's feet with his bone swords and runs a rope through the wounds in her feet.
JoJo is, of course, going off about how mad he is at Cars. Like, this is the first time he's truly hated somebody in his life, and Cars is gonna feel the brunt of that in just a second. And like, okay, sure, fine, but we all know in like 2-3 episodes, you're gonna be talking about how much you respect him as a noble opponent, and maybe the world needs more people like Cars. Fuck you, JoJo.
Yeah, I hate it when he does that. So yeah, now that this rope has been run through the wounds of Lisa's feet and tied around her and stuff, this rope is thrown over the overhang above them. Cars just kicks her off the edge, and JoJo has to run and grab the other end of the rope so she doesn't fall into this bed of spikes. And now JoJo has to try to fight Cars while also holding this rope so that his mom doesn't fucking die and get impaled by crystal gems.
And Smokey points out that situation because he has put 2 and 2 together. He's the only one with all the clues.
Yeah.
He's amazed that JoJo is fighting so hard to save the life of his teacher, not knowing the even greater tragedy that he's fighting to save the life of his mother.
Yeah. And that is the cliffhanger for episode 23.
Before we move on, I love a particular line of JoJo's to Cars. There's a place waiting for you in hell. Because it would presumably be followed up with, it's very far from Speedwagon's place in hell that I previously described.
Right.
He's going to one of the nicer parts of hell, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. The place where oil barons that sometimes associate themselves with Nazis go.
Like, that sounds like a bad place of hell, but it's still better than the place of hell where pillar men go.
Yeah.
So yes, let us move on to episode 24, The Ties That Bind JoJo. We really are getting biblical. JoJo compares Cars' soul to a cut verse from the Grinch song?
Yeah, God, right. What did he say here? It's like a pumpkin left to rot out in a dead field. Even flies avoid it. Yeah, that's a Grinch lyric that got cut.
But Cars is continually gloating over this end of Spider-Man sort of situation he's put JoJo in. Every time Cars is gloating, I'm imagining Smokey and Speedwagon just getting closer to saving Lisa themselves.
Yeah.
But then we get a much wider establishing shot that, like, okay, the heights are such that there's no way they are getting up to save her unless they brought like a giant cherry picker along with. Ooh, maybe Stroheim has extendo legs.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, JoJo here is struggling to even keep hold of this rope, let alone like fight or do anything else. And while this is happening, Smokey shouts at Speedwagon, "We really need to tell JoJo that's his mom." And Speedwagon gets really glum and is kind of like avoiding eye contact and stuff and saying like, no, it's not the proper time.
Actually, no, we don't. We really don't. Not in this moment.
Yeah.
I love Smokey's necklace. Can we talk about Smokey's look?
Oh, yeah. Smokey's got a new necklace now.
Yeah. Like, if the world were the Met Gala, if people could just dress extra all the time, I would rock Smokey's look. I think I could pull that off.
Yeah, it's like a really wide necklace that kind of more goes like closer to like,
it's like shoulder to shoulder. Yeah,
it's shoulder to shoulder. It's just big gold squares with a red center just going all around him. They're really big and chunky. Yeah. It's great. And there's like no story significance or anything. It's just sometimes characters get new accessories in JoJo.
Well, yeah, he's best friends with the world's richest man. I think
that's true. Yeah, he probably gotten some stuff from them.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Stroheim is asking Speedwag is asking Stroheim, "Hey, you done with those vampires yet?" But no, the Nazis are still being kept very busy by the vampires. There's a very well animated shot of Stroheim flexing to make the UV rays go out harder, and a vampire getting disintegrated by it.
Yes.
Animated on ones for some reason. And then we go back to the fight with JoJo and Cars here.
JoJo does the thing he always does. He calls for everyone's attention.
Yep.
Then he introduces his props.
Yes. Yeah, he does some more magician shit here.
It's just stage magician banter. All I need is for him to ask Cars for the benefit of the audience if they've ever spoken before today.
Yeah. JoJo, using the rope, goes in for, a swinging Hamon kick at Cars, but Cars is able to easily block it and slash at JoJo and throw him back.
So yeah, he's like, okay, Cars, you know what I need? I need motivation. Take a look at my lighter. It looks like a normal lighter, right? Nothing unusual about this. I'm going to light my scarf on fire.
Yeah, and he says it's supposed to be motivation, as a timer, the closer the scarf burns, it gets to my face here. Right before he said this, he was, wrapping the rope more around his wrist. So he can get a better grip.
Burning your face off is one thing, JoJo, but real warriors pluck out their own eyes, okay? Get on my level.
Man. Yeah. And Cars thinks this whole scarf thing is really dumb and is just an act of desperation. So he goes in to slash at him, and JoJo's able to, dodge him by using the rope to swing out and around him so that they just kind of switch places. And he's telling JoJo, okay, no more fucking stupid games. I could just cut this rope at any moment with my bone blades here.
He has the world's sharpest bone knife. I watched him make it. I don't understand what the weird shit with the cows and the cucumber was all about. But it was still impressive.
Yeah. JoJo goes in for another, spinning, swinging kick here. As he's doing that, Car says, "I don't know why you're doing this, because the instant I cut this rope, you're going to go falling with her because you're hanging on to that while you're swinging at me." So he cuts the rope. With Lisa and JoJo begin to fall. And as that happens, Cars falls over, falls to the ground. Suddenly, the rope is tied to his ankle. So now both JoJo and Lisa are hanging, dangling from Cars' ankle.
They are still tied together and not falling separately, while also between them tied to Cars. Everyone's one big happy rope family.
We see that JoJo has brought back the trick that he used on AC/DC, basically. Making extra loops so that if one gets cut, it's still fine.
Cars is shocked. He doesn't understand how JoJo had time to rig all this. You aren't allowed to say that after you put a dozen grenades on a guy in the blink of an eye. Tied strings to them all.
Yeah, so JoJo was able to do that because he distracted Cars, with his burning his scarf shit. That straight up just magician, distraction stuff with the props. While he was distracted by the flaming scarf, JoJo just set up a loop of rope on the ground next to him, and when Cars charged in to attack, he walked into that. and
he cries out, "You deceived me, Siegfried and or Roy."
And JoJo's able to get back up by using his scarf as another rope to latch onto Cars' ankle and swing back up. And so with Cars stuck on the ground here, JoJo goes in for a just classic Hamon overdrive.
Yes, bring in the hits.
Karate chops Cars' bone blade, is able to split it in half and snap it, and the Hamon was able to travel through Cars' bone blade.
And we've been talking about how exhausted Joseph is at this point after 2 fights back to back. This is all he had in the tank. He had no idea. Even he didn't know how much Hamon he had left. Whatever it was, it's down at 0 now.
One of Cars' arms just fucking blows up, and that explosion, that injury sends him falling down below, and he lands on a fuckload of spikes and gets super impaled by all of them.
Hey, all you flashlight friends, could you come over right now?
Yeah. So now that Cars has been really fucked over, he's so impaled. He's impaled so many spikes that he's just stuck there.
And so Stroheim does seize the opportunity. He starts barking out orders to bring the giant laser gun.
Yeah, they have a super mega UV amplifier gun that is the size of like a gigantic cannon on like an aircraft carrier.
Stroheim's enthusiasm really does start to grow on you.
Dude, he loves the UV amplifier stuff. He is so excited by it.
He loves being a robot. He loves anything he likes. He loves. He is the Kojima Twitter of characters.
Yeah.
The only problem is one of those things he loves is fascism.
Oh boy. So yeah, now that Cars has fallen to the ground, JoJo's able to snag the rope and save Lisa, and he's got her, she's unconscious, but he's got her in his arms. And it is backstory time, baby, because Smokey is asking Speedwagon, why did Granny Arena lie to JoJo about his mother being alive or being dead?
So basically, we're seeing the torch being passed, because in this conversation, it's both like giving Smokey all the knowledge he needs to be the new Speedwagon, but there's also a lot of like knowing looks. Like Robert E.O. clearly sees a lot of himself in this boy, and it's very sweet.
Yeah. I forgot about that part.
Also, I think Smokey aged at least 3 years in this month. And
yeah.
Under his new jacket, he looks yoked, man.
Yeah, he does.
So yes, let me deliver the exposition, boy. It's what men like us do best.
Yeah, and he says to Smokey, like, you can never tell JoJo this. This is just between us. No one else can know.
So yeah, we get a flashback. We meet George Joestar II. He looks nice. He seems like a good boy.
Yeah.
And he had no talent for Hamon himself. He didn't get involved in this foolishness. But he was always aware. So he knew how to recognize the zombie that was his commanding officer in the RAF in World War I.
Yes. So what happened is one of the random people that Dio in part 1 turned into a zombie just like fucked off at some point in part 1 and was never killed.
Mm-hmm. Like, imagine it's the zombie in the back of the room when they're all rushing Straight So and Speedwagon. Like the last one is like, actually, I would rather not. I shall leave today.
Yeah, George is a member of of Britain's Royal Air Force. Yeah, somehow this zombie was able to become a commander.
I would like to see the slice of life show about living as a zombie in Edwardian England.
Fucking hell. So yeah, you get some shots like this zombie was just like prowling the streets at night. He's wheelchair bound, but I don't know if he really actually, is he just using it as a disguise? I don't know. But he made his way into the military here, was George Joestar's commanding officer.
We see the actual seal of the RAF with their motto, per ardua ad astra, through struggle to the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to know how no one in the Air Force here knew their commanding officer didn't know that he was a zombie, because his skin is all fucked up. He's got... all of his teeth are fangs. He looks like fucking Killer Croc from the Batman the Animated Series.
You're going to make fun of his condition? You're going to discriminate? That man serves king and country, I'll have you know.
Oh, boy.
He looks like that because of what happened in the Boer War. It's not because he's a zombie.
Sure, yeah. But yeah, George Joestar was able to put it together that his commanding officer was a fucking zombie that was eating people alive when he wasn't working. And George tried to confront this guy.
However, quote, he had no training in the ways of Hamon. All right, who the fuck's fault is that, huh?
Yeah.
His father-in-law runs a Hamon temple.
Yeah. That's how George Joestar died. He was eaten alive by one of Dio's former zombies.
And so this sets Lisa off.
Yeah.
Don't you dare eat my husband.
Lisa had already known about Hamon as well, because her dad was straight, so adoptive father. Yeah, Speedwagon says, instead of showing grief, she ran out on the intent of bloody revenge. She knows Hamon. She tracks down the military officer. This isn't even like covert or anything. She just walks into the fucking room he works in and just kills the shit out of this dude. Just like splits him in half with hormone.
And it turns out when people don't know he's a zombie, that's illegal. You get in trouble for that kind of thing.
Yeah, she got caught by another officer murdering this zombie. And so then, like, word spread very quickly throughout Europe that, like, hey, this lady is murdering, like, Air Force officers.
So she's wanted everywhere. She's on the run. The Speedwagon Foundation bent its every resource in order to help her change her identity and hide out on Air Supply Island. Maybe that's why she was wearing the mask.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, actually.
But both she and Granny Arena swore to keep the secret of what happened from JoJo forever because they didn't want him getting mixed up in all this business. And Smokey is so shocked that getting mixed up in Hamon adventures leads to tragedy, even after the day he just had. Look around, you child.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's the backstory, Lisa. I like this reveal of why this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa killing the shit out of an Air Force zombie.
I'm so curious about the Air Force zombie.
Yeah. And yeah, after Smokey hears this whole story, he is moved to tears. He is just crying, tears streaming down his face.
And he agrees to be sworn to secrecy, that only Arena and or Lisa have the right to tell Joseph the truth about who his mother is and why he doesn't know.
Smokey thinks to himself, oh my God, Joseph finally broke the cycle. He was able to save his mom. You know, it's over. Thank God. He
got mixed up in a Hamon adventure and he saved a life instead of destroying one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that brings us back to the present where the giant UV laser lamp has been wheeled up and they shoot Cars with it and he turns. Cars is wearing the mask with the Super Asia. Damn, Cars, you're good. You did it.
Yep. He was just playing dead, waiting for them to blast this mask. He's been laying face down, like his head turned away a little bit, so they couldn't see the mask there. Very quickly turns his mask. Everyone goes, oh, fuck! and Stroheim is freaking the fuck out. He's shouting like, oh my God, turn the laser gun off that I love so much. Turn it off. But it is too late. He is saying this as the UV ray amplifier is just blasting a huge amount of UV.
Through the Super Asia, into the stone mask, supercharging the stone mask so it's able to pierce Kars's brain and turn him into this ultimate beyond Pillar Man being. And so, yeah, we get the perfect... We get the classic supernatural Nazi story where Nazi hubris creates a new super monster, which itself believes in inborn superiority and a natural hierarchy as like a dark foil to their ideology. There you go. We made it back. We did it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The Nazis, like, despite like a couple times throughout the show, like either Stroheim and or like just a whole bunch of Nazis come back and it's like, we're here to help. They never successfully help. They make everything fucking worse every goddamn time.
Yeah. Like all they managed to do to Cars back at the chalet was just get him to show off one of his party tricks, I guess.
Yeah, that was it, really. And so, yeah, this episode ends with the mask is piercing Cars' skull. The transparency of his body begins to flicker, and we can see his skeleton becoming supercharged or something. And the episode ends
with Cars literally has galaxy brain.
I was going to say that too. He goes galaxy brain. It is just his eyes superimposed over the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. And yeah, that's where this episode ends. It's a kick-ass cliffhanger.
This is the new best cliffhanger of part 2. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is the end of today's trio of episodes. We will be back next talking about the end, the final parts of part 2, where JoJo presumably must find some way to defeat Cars, the ultimate super being. Either that, or it's a wild alternate universe where all of humanity is eaten by the end of 1940. Yeah.
Yeah, this set of 3 episodes, I think, are really solid. Like, I think the whole Wamuu fight, pretty good. The ending cliffhanger of Cars tricking everybody into causing him to transform into the ultimate super being is just a great cliffhanger. I've asked you questions like this before, but like this one is really hard to answer, I think. But how do you think JoJo, a super tired Joseph, can even, like, how is he going to beat, what galaxy brain plan can he even come up with to beat something that is like a god now?
I think he's got to run, right? He's got to run and find a way to escape, to recover, and make a plan. Like, okay. This is when he goes underground for a month and makes the perfect, inescapable mousetrap.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Yeah, the final 2 episodes of part 2 are some of my favorite. It is just a crazy ride, and I can't wait to finally talk about this part. It is one of the things that like cinched part 2 is still being like one of my favorites. Just the way it concludes. Look forward to the final 2 episodes of Battle Tendency, a very tired JoJo versus a godlike Cars.
These episodes, or I guess this Cars fight in 2 parts, really won me over to the character of Cars. Because I enjoy there being a no-nonsense one. I enjoy there being one that's just like direct and goal-oriented. But seeing that he also is able to pull off plans that are, simple enough. He had all of the props he needed and put it together. It's not quite as wild as his brain didn't pop out.
Yeah.
But just that his cleverness doesn't just lie in cutting through everyone's bullshit. It's some actual cleverness as well. Makes him that much more formidable in my eyes. Did not like the air guitar. I felt that was wildly out of character.
It's just so weird and goofy.
But the rest of it is good.
Yeah. I kind of like the late reveal of like what Cars is actually like. It kind of reminds me, maybe not as wild and crazy as the super late reveal of Armstrong in Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah.
Like, you barely know this guy exists. He's just like a guy crafting plans and stuff, and he just seems like a serious, normal villain. And then once he like actually reveals himself, he's way crazier and like and a fun character. Like, kind of going like, okay, here's what Cars really is. Like, starting that off by having him take off the turban to reveal his metal hair.
Yes.
Yeah. For the most part, anytime we've seen Cars do stuff, he's been like far more serious and like calculated, I guess. So yeah, that reveal is a lot of fun.
I sure hope Smokey makes it out alive.
Oh God, right? Yeah, don't bring Smokey back just to have him die immediately. That would be a very JoJo thing, though.
Yeah. Oh, well, we got to bring back that reporter lady so she can die.
Yeah, right? There's that brief moment where it feels like the reporter lady might be a character too, and then she's not.
No, I guess they did forget to give her a name, so that should have been the first clue.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess that is the end of this episode. I'm going to take the opportunity to, I know I did a few weeks ago, but to again plug Sex Archie, because the difference between that recording and this one is we've been making it again.
Yeah.
So now I can say with confidence that some of our recent episodes have been some of the best of the run of that podcast. Specifically, I'd like to recommend our bonus episode on the Josie and the Pussycats movie from 2001.
Ooh.
That is just a wild movie. The definition of a cult classic. There's even a behind-the-scenes story where, like, we wanted to make a real movie with wide appeal, but then as the dailies came in, we realized we wrote a cult classic. This is going to flop, but people are going to love it in 10 years. And that's exactly what happened.
I think I got to check that out now. I didn't know that movie was like that.
It's great. And also our episode recapping Chapter 79, Graduation, where the teens graduate. And it might be my favorite episode of the show, the entire run, but it at least is one that gives us the opportunity to talk about things we love about the show and what it does well that people don't often give it credit for. And we have a lot of fun. There's still a lot of good jokes in there, but it's this strange moment of closure and finality even though there are 2 full seasons of the show left to come after. Which is a
Right,
very,
yeah.
very strange position to be in.
Yeah, and like from what I've seen on Twitter of like what is happening, like literally starting next episode.
Yes.
Seems pretty wild.
Yes. It is technically going to be science fiction.
Okay.
They graduated as the class of 2020. They made that explicit. And now there's a 7-year time skip.
Yeah. And
So
there's a war, I think?
maybe.
Maybe?
Listen to Sex Archie episode 79, It Felt Like Home, to find out our predictions of what that battle scene is going to turn out to actually be
Okay.
in the episode.
I'll have to check that out. I'm curious what you think.
Yes. So, thanks for listening to this show. And like I said, we will be back soon with the end of Battle Tendency.
Cannot believe we're here already.
To be continued.
Yeah. See you later, folks.